Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Rules could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading, so I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes. This will allow you to understand why you're attracting who you're attracting, why the person's doing what they're doing, really. That's first and foremost. A lot of times when you're dealing with people that have a lot of spiritual blocks, we're not living their reality. Their reality is, again, has been impaired. It has been distorted through the experiences that they've already lived. So a lot of times they're basing their habits and their behaviorisms on what has happened in the past. The problem is if you have a spiritual block, where you had a lot of bad experiences around love, romance, or money, whatever the block is. I mean, we can have blocks in every area of our life or just one area, but what we're doing is we're seeing everything through the filter of the wound, and then the habits and the behaviorisms are what's built on that. So you're like, I don't understand why this person's doing what they're doing, but it's triggering. And so we have to say, well, is these insignificant relationships insignificant? No, every relationship, it actually has the potential to teach, to learn, to grow. And that's really what it is. Our relationships come into our life as a way that the universe helps us to heal certain aspects about ourselves. And those aspects are the shadow parts of ourselves. And these shadows, we create personas. Like you said, the habits and the behaviorisms are more built on the persona, but that's not the reality. So whenever we're not coming from our true self, the higher self, then we're never going to get good results. We're never going to get lasting results anyway. That's why they always say the truth always comes out. You know, you can't run from karma. It's because eventually, like we'll see what a person actually does. Now, a lot of times it takes people a really long time to see. And part of that is it's because we have to learn. A lot of times we don't want to learn. How many times do you grow up in an abusive household and you don't want to really see that your parents are abusive? You don't really want to see that. We make excuses the same way that we make excuses within our relationships. We don't want to see it. So we have to go through and experience many, many different times until we fully learn the lesson. So this channel is about helping you to break the karmic cycles that keep you stuck in a place of limitation. Now, does that mean that you can attract a person that has true feelings? No, you do a lot of times that they all the time there's real genuine feeling. It's just the way that this person manifests their feeling is not really in alignment with a higher self. It's more in alignment with the lower self, which is all about lust and control and ownership, and it winds up being a very toxic or codependent relationship. So there's reasons why we're able to shape shift the situation, and one main reason is because there's many different realities that play out at one time. So you being able to see how you contribute to the imbalances within the situation automatically changes the dynamic of the connection. So a lot of times when you're like, oh, I just feel like I can't let go of this connection. Well, when you change your energy by doing something else, you see yourself differently and you don't resonate with that person anymore. And it's because you learn the spiritual lesson, the dynamic of the connection is not, there's no more. So a lot of times we don't know the difference between a karmic or a soulmate twin flame because the energies feel very much the same. And the reason why is because you have to learn the lesson. The universe has brought you two together to teach, to learn, to grow from each other. It's just when it's karmic, we associate that with pain and not really love. However, there is love there. We wouldn't stick around long enough to learn the lesson if there wasn't. It's just the paradox is we hate that person as much as we love them. And it's because of what they do. All right, so I don't know why I channeled that. Again, there's always different. Um, Sometimes spirit just wants me to add a little bit more information. So I do it. Okay, so the word of the video is Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness. Now, even though we see a cross here, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's Christian. What it means, however, is that we're in alignment with all the energies of love. So that would be compassion, self-sacrifice. It would be forgiveness, really even undeserved forgiveness. Christ consciousness is again, is to be able to integrate your spiritual blocks and integrate them into wholeness. And this wholeness is anything that's derived from unconditional love, because that's the energy of God. That's the energy of the universe. That's the energy of what's inside of us, the deity part of self, the God part of self. When we're in a higher self, the true part of self, we are in this God consciousness, which is a Christ consciousness, because we're in alignment with the energy of unconditional love. So you have a connection with somebody that, I feel like is not on a high vibration, but you still have this Christ consciousness for. And this person also finds that this connection is really difficult for them because they don't want to be transparent. They don't want the same type of connection that you do. They have only lived bad relationships. So they're convinced that it's not really possible. However, there's this desire on both parties to be curious, to still have unconditional love for each other in spite of the differences. However, I have to mention that if we're holding on to Christ consciousness, which is unconditional love, but we also don't want it because we feel that the person is imbalanced. We feel like the person isn't going to treat us right because they're not on a higher enough vibration, that means, or the person that you're in a relationship just doesn't want to do that much. They don't want to put in that much effort. They're not used to it. It feels wrong to them. Part of it's their ego. They don't care. Well, we're holding on to a cognitive dissonance then. So the irony is, I feel like you're both like, what the fuck is taking so long? Just end it. Just end the connection if that's what you want to do. Where you're like sitting there almost saying, come on, face me. Tell me what you want to say. Give me the excuses of why you did what you did. Go ahead. I'm waiting for you. And they don't want to do that because they don't want to end the connection, even though they don't really want the connection either, for all the reasons that I just said, where you really don't want this person to come back into your life to actually build a connection. However, there's a part of you that's like, I need you to tell me something so that you could actually close this out. Like, because it not closed out is just uncomfortable. There's no closure, like there's just not no closure, but it's like, what's the whole point? And so there's this energy that both of you guys don't really want to be in a relationship, but you don't want the relationship to end either. So the universe listens to what we say. So it's not doing anything. You know, that's the irony. There is this higher consciousness where it would automatically flow together, this connection. But a lot of pain, a lot of disrespect is how you feel. You feel like this person neglected you, that they didn't care. And yes, they're in a place of regret now and worry because they know that they created a big imbalance within the connection. And that imbalance is that you don't really see them the same way. There's a lot of sorrow there on both parts. This person avoided you because they didn't want to deal with the criticism. And now they're stuck in a place of grief because they know that they should have come back and giving you that respect. And the thing is, you're holding their feet to the fire. You don't care. There's a sense of almost like, yes, there's an unconditional love here, but I love myself more. I love myself more. You disrespected me. And this person knows it. That's why there's a lot of this like hostility because they feel powerless. And they feel powerless because they ruined the trust. They ruined the trust because they abandoned you. And really, how they did it was they acted like they didn't care. So, of course, you're in a place of like disgust. But the real issue that I feel is that this person has a lot of shame. And that's the spiritual block that they have. I feel like they continually get in their own way. So, I mean, so stupid. It's like a connection that could have worked, but this person didn't give it the time of day. They didn't give the connection the time of day. And so now it's like that you finally cut your energy off. Well, now they're looking at the connection, but you're like, well, you took it there. There was no need for you to take it there, and you can't go back in time to fix it. Because no matter what you give, it's going to be a disappointment. It's not going to be enough because all I'm going to see is your selfishness. And the fact that you were so disassociated from it, you don't even care. But the irony is, like, you form negative attachments. And they do because they tend to be very selfish. They like things one-sided. They're seeing that you're holding them to it. And so they're feeling powerless and they're actually feeling hostile about it because it's like you're making me look at this. Why can't you just move past it? And you're like, no, because you have time for everything else, to hobbies, interests, other people, whatever it is, it's just avoidant. So you didn't have to give to me. So it's like you wanted to pound that into my head that I wasn't important. You wanted to make sure that I got that message. So the amount of time and energy that you gave to everybody else, including whatever insignificant hobby that you had, it was just avoidant. Like you couldn't give me any time at all. And I feel like this person, if they have children, they hid behind their children. That's for some of you. It's like you hide behind your children. Instead of spending time with me, you're gonna sit there and want to hang out with your daughter or your son, like whatever, every weekend, instead of giving me time. It's just avoidant. It's just avoidant. Like because you want me, but you don't really want to do what it takes to hold on to me. And this is why you're like, I don't want this now. Even though you say you're sorry, I can't seem to not see how you treated me. And it's again, and it was so easy for you not to care. You were easy checked out because you get wasted. So you drink yourself to sleep. So you cut your energy off completely. It's just avoidant behavior that we see, whether or not you're hiding behind your children, whether or not you're hiding behind the drugs, whether you're hiding behind your hobbies, whether you're hiding behind other people. It's that you're not giving me the time. You think by giving me a bunch of different excuses that that I don't see what you're doing. So you're again disrespecting me, feeling like I don't know what you're doing. And all you do is you trigger my own abandonment issues. Like you don't never look and see what I've gone through in my life. No, you're so selfish. You only think about yourself. So you coming in and out of my life when you feel like it. But really, you're not giving me quality. You're not giving me quantity. You're giving you just enough to keep your foot in the fucking door. And you think that I don't know what you do. It's like trauma. It's like you felt like it was a trauma bond. You're like, because all I do is I'm not happy when I think about you. I think about the disappointments, about how every single time you could have shown up, but you deliberately made sure that I saw that you were not going to bend, that everything had to be your way or the highway. And it brought you back to a time of like, I grew up this way or I grew up or I dated a person this way already. It's like I know I recognize this one-sided selfish energy that you don't really give a fuck about what I've been through. You don't get deep enough. You won't build that transparency with me because you're so busy spreading yourself thin, trying to give the illusion that you're somebody important. So we have to say, like, well, what does this person really think, or why do they have so many problems in getting in their own way, or what? Like, give us a little bit more light, because we see that they did a lot of things, but we're like, okay, so what's the whole point? People don't stay connected to somebody like this unless they really do have unconditional love. And that's really what I see. I see that there's two people that really did have unconditional love here, but it's like the connection is so corroded and damaged by the disrespect, by the person's selfishness, that how can you see anything else except for trauma? Especially if they're going to check out because they're going to drink, they're going to run and hide behind their hobbies, their interest, everything else comes before you. And the sex, but there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of fire. So what we see here right now is that this is a connection that is at its lowest vibrational energy. And I say that because it's sex, it's passion, but where you see this person's hand around this person's neck, right? So it's like dominance. It's dominance. It's like there's such an abundant amount of that type of energy, where this is where this person's power normally is. They just feel if they could get you in the bedroom that it would be different. Where that's the thing, I don't really feel that that's you. I feel like they would have to build the trust in order for you to even want to go into the bedroom. And that's the thing. See, this person's used to going for lower hanging fruit, that it becomes all about that's the focus, where you know that there's a lot more to a relationship than just that. But this is what this person like focuses on. But like I said, it's not healthy because it's only about lust and about this person feeding their own desire. Because when it's real love, it's a give and take reciprocity, it's equal. There is transparency. There's like, you should feel safe in being around this person. You didn't feel safe around this person because they didn't allow you to. If everything else comes before you, then why are you going to feel safe? Yeah, and they expected you to be a martyr. Like, oh, I'm just going to go along with everything. I'm just going to go along. That's the energy that they're used to. But the irony is that they cheat on that energy because they claim that they want it. They make the person into that. But then what winds up happening is that they don't want it. It's boring. It's like, what? You don't have an identity. Your identity becomes what this person wants. This person doesn't like themselves. So even if you became everything that they wanted, it would never be enough. And that's the thing. They don't allow it to go deep. They won't allow the connection to be. And this is what you see. It's like instead, it's almost like a competition. Like who's going to give in first? Like where you don't look at the connection like that. This was a divine connection. You were looking for it to be balanced. You're a balanced person. This person, again, creates disequilibrium in all their relationships. It said it right here. So it's, again, they create that imbalance because it's all about them. And they're coming from this lower vibrational energy. And so obviously, eventually, what would happen is the more that you would do, like you can't win, is what I'm trying to say. You might say, I'm going to try and be in this connection and play things the way that I want to play them. Hold on a second, this dog. Go outside. Sorry. So it's like, they want to play. They want to play, they want you to play by their rules. And the thing is, it's like you could say, well, I'm going to try and go along with what you want, but give as much as I want. They would never allow it. This person loves the drama. So what would happen is you would start to put your time, your energy into things that you were creating, and then it would become a competition. It would become like I'm going to hold back from you. Now I'm not going to talk to you. Now I'm going to, these little games where they emotionally take their attention and their, any type of emotional support away from you. And then whatever you're doing, well, if you're getting attention, they're going to make you feel bad about it. Like this person in the back, look at the person in the back, how they're like pissed off. They're like a sore loser. It's like that's how this person would be because it's like you're showing them a version of you that makes you look better than them. So this is why, like I said, they don't like themselves. Are they walking around saying, I don't like myself? No. If anything, they actually look self-righteous. They actually look as if, well, I'm entitled. Like they have a false sense of entitlement. So why I'm allowed to just be selfish. Now, when you just date certain people that allow you to stay in this low vibration, you don't know the difference. That's why this person has a problem with you holding their feet to the fire. You're like, you didn't treat me right. You didn't, and you ruined the connection. So it's almost like you both want the connection, but you both don't want the connection for valid reasons. And the longer that this person takes to come back and actually like explain to you or say anything to you, the more that you are disconnecting from them and the more that you are putting your time and energy into yourself, which is probably why this card came out, because it's like, what do you think? Like it's a competition where it's like weren't holding back from this person to get what you wanted. You hold back from this person because you didn't get anything. You're like, well, I'm not going to keep giving to you if you're not giving to me. And this person has a problem with it because they'd rather just stay in their old habits. It's like they know in order to be with you, they'd have to create new habits that were more in alignment with unconditional love, which means loving themselves more, which means that they would have to stop hiding behind their hobbies and other people, stop with the addictions, with the drinking and the partying so you can check out. Stop putting yourself in competition. Stay in your own lane. Learn balance. This person's imbalanced. And they're imbalanced because they're very codependent. However, they don't want to actually be in that type of relationship because it's boring. It's like, I'm going to make you into the martyr. I'm going to make you into everything that I want, but then I don't want it. It's like, but I needed to do that so that I could be comfortable. But then I'm going to dispose you when the sex fizzles out because it's actually no glue to keep the relationship together, right? Relationships are something that happens over time. It's the transparency, it's the depth. It's not this avoidant behavior. Every time you think about this person, it's like you never show up. What's there to miss? All you do is put stress onto me. That's all. It's like, and you need a lot of healing. You need too much healing. You're lazy. You don't want to do what it takes to actually be with someone like me. And you're mad that I'm holding you to it. And that's why you want this because you want the connection, but you don't want it because it would require you not to be lazy. And so that's where they are. Because there's a part of them that's self-righteous. They want to be seen as perfect. But really all they are is a narcissist that's extremely insecure. So when they do feel guilt, well, then they just bob right on back and say, well, I doubt you're really going to be with me. So then I'm just going to stay in this hopeless energy. And I like to hide behind my lies and illusions. However, I'm jealous because you are moving forward. And I'm getting really patient because I thought by now you would be coming back. And I feel like, and I'm impatient because I thought you would have gotten it, even though that there's a connection. It's like there's too much resentment. So that's why you're again disconnecting, and all of a sudden this person is getting like real obsessive because, they didn't do anything to fix the connection. I'm just going to pull two from here, which is we are one, don't let fear get in the way of this truth. So this person knows that, again, that there is a soul connection. And on some level, they also know that fear is what's preventing them from moving forward. And I feel like you're like, yeah, well, we do have a connection, but I am fearful of this connection because I don't like what you show me. And that's really what it is. It's like you're not wrong for feeling what you're feeling. This person is using that narrative as a way to like keep themselves stuck, but it's their pride. It's like they know this is a soul's connection. They know what it is, and they also know that they're destroying it. They just didn't think that you would allow it to happen because most people don't. And you're like, no, I don't care. You can give me the matchstick. I'll no problem. Or do you want me to take the gasoline? Because I have no problem burning this bitch down at this point. That's where you are. You're like, I'm resentful because you took it to the point where I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to use time and space and I'm going to manipulate you. And I'm going to, again, bob back and forth between being very self-righteous and then being insecure. So there's no energy. You always stay the victim. It's like, I've never felt love like this before. The depth of it can be inspiring, but overwhelming. Obviously, is overwhelming because they don't like the control. They don't like the control that you have over them, that they're actually thinking of it. So they refuse to like give in. And that's how you know that the person really has feelings. It's like they're going to like overcompensate for the fact of how much feeling that they have. Now they have to prove to you how much they don't care. So they went overboard in not giving you any time and deliberately giving you breadcrumbs and hoping that you would say something and hoping that you would, create some sort of drama, and that drama would be like, passion. It would stir up a lot of passion because really at the end of the day, that's all this person wants. They want the physical connection. I feel insecure and it's pushing me to grow. Yeah, because you're walking away. And, there's unconditional love here. That is the energy of the universe. That is the energy of God. That is the energy that is your supernatural energy. So it's like you're taking all of that away from this person. See, as long as you were hooked, well, then I don't need to make a decision. And what this is you're like, I'm not sticking around for this. I refuse. It's like this person knows that they're letting themselves get in the way of this connection due to past experiences. And I'm not gonna tolerate it. So you're walking away from this person, and which is the right thing to do. And we see, what are you doing with your time? You're putting your time and energy into your own craft, whether that's your business, whether that's your hobbies. It's like your mind can't be in two places at one time. So the way that you're dealing with this, which is the right way to deal with this, by the way, is to do what you love, to raise your vibration to the energy of vibration of unconditional love by doing what you love. That cuts the energy between you and this person. That's why this person is like, well, now I'm feeling insecure because I can't feel you. I'm feeling you less. You're pulling your energy away. I also am forced to see how I've treated you, and I don't really know how to fix it. They know how to fix it, but it would require them to surrender their ego. Yeah, like you're a leader. You're a leader in whatever you're doing in your field. So you're working on your craft. This person knows it. They're like, you're gonna be something big. And the thing is, that's where your power is. That's what's making this person like I said, seeing practice. See, like this is your energy right now. It really is. It's like you're in the leader, like preparing, maybe a promotion's coming up, you're working on your craft, you're practicing, and that could be just whatever it is that you're practicing. You could be anything from a healer to an electrician. You know what I mean? You are practicing your craft. You are trying to become the best at it, to become a leader in it. And you're actually taking the time out to rejuvenate yourself. You're like, I am not going to get caught up in your bullshit. Because there's a part of you that's like, I truly believe that once I'm actually in full force of my craft, where I'm actually like in that leadership role, I'm not even going to have time for you. You're not even going to really resonate. So, yes, right now, does it bother me? Yeah, it bothers me. But I feel like that's the spiritual test. That if this person was actually to come back into your life, I think that they would be a hindrance to what it is that you're doing. So, by you taking your energy and pouring it into yourself, well, that really is triggering this person to like change. Because what you're saying is, I don't care. Either way, I'm going to make sure that I get my needs taken care of. And I don't care what kind of connection we have. I don't. I will chalk it up to it being a karmic connection. This person knows that you're serious. They know that you're serious. Be willing to look in the proverbial mirror regularly and embrace the light and the dark. So it's about you realizing then that this person came into your life to teach you certain things about yourself. Because what we see here is that, yeah, they have feelings, but they're not healthy. They're not on the right vibration. So will they eventually come back into your life? Yeah, when things happen in your life, because it's like, oh, okay, because hey, you're distracted, so maybe you won't even care what I did. So there's a little bit, instead of coming back at the right time and actually nurturing the connection and apologizing, they figure they're just going to dip right on in, which I feel like that this would create even more resentment on, and the thing is, this person doesn't know how to play this because they didn't spend any time in getting to know you. So it's like they're also always going to do the minimum, meaning I'm going to do whatever it is that shows that I don't care. So it gives the illusion that I don't really care as much as I do. So because of that, you're like, that is what you want to really look at. It's like, why is somebody literally going out of their way to make me feel insecure? What is it that I would need to learn? Why would spirit, the universe, bring a person like that into my life? So, because that's really what spirit's saying when you look at the connection, you have to say, why? Why would the universe bring you someone like this into your life? Check to be sure that the stories you tell yourself are at least helpful to you. So it's, again, this person wanted to make you feel a certain way about yourself. And I feel like that was the first telltale sign. That's like, well, you don't make me feel good about myself. You're not productive to be around. You stress me out. I'm always questioning. You're trying to make me feel like I'm not good enough. That's what you're trying to do by this card and by this card. So we have to say, why would the universe bring us people that, again, want to tell us negative things about ourselves, want us to undervalue ourselves? What is the spiritual lesson that needs to be integrated? So sometimes it does have to do with your inner child wounds, because listen, you have the wound in childhood, you don't remember it, it becomes suppressed, repressed, and then it plays out in other relationships. The wound had to come from somewhere. So it's always the karmic theme that continues to play out. So right now it's almost like you're in a cognitive dissonance with someone, which is, I care about you, but I also don't like you at all and don't want to be in a relationship with you. And this person pretty much feels the same exact way, because you're making them like look at their behavior and they don't want to. So discipline. Well, what did we say? You're putting your time and your energy and your effort into your craft right now, into becoming a leader, into becoming like known, like for what it is that you do. There's big things that are happening. So if you were giving your time to this person, then you wouldn't be doing what you need to do to discipline yourself. So that that happens too if we grew up in an environment where like we were in survival, that we couldn't discipline ourselves to actually learn a craft, to be consistent, because as children, our emotional support becomes much more important, and that's self-gratifying. So actually having to wait for love, but not really wait for love, but wait for love from someone outside of you. You had to give yourself the love by disciplining yourself and staying on your path. Rebellious. You had to go up against the grain. There's a lot of people that probably think that you're overreacting with this person, or that why do you have to put so much time into your business? Why do you have to? About, there's a healthy part of being rebellious. It's like, I'm not going to be a sheep. I'm not going to follow the norm. That's what this person expected you to do. They expected you to follow the norm of what they're used to having. But the thing is, you're not like everyone else. And that's what this person is seeing. So is it a little bit rebellious? Yeah, but it's a healthy rebellious. Like, this person's used to being with people that aren't good. Look, intolerance. Just getting to a point of whatever doesn't work in my life, I'm not keeping in my life, because I'm on the road to creating my best self. I'm going to walk into a leadership position, or I'm pouring myself into my hobbies and my interests, things that grow me. So anything that's out of alignment with my true self, Scorpio, is saying, can't stay. I'm intolerant to it. It needs to go. Sing, finding your voice. If you grew up in an environment where it wasn't comfortable to actually voice your opinion, to remember, God created the world with his voice. You too can create the world with your voice. And it's your own style, your own individuality. And that is seen as rebellious, because you're seen as somebody different. Like, you don't care about fitting in. And that's what this person didn't realize. It's like, you don't care about the insignificant things. This is why this person will never find another one like you. Isolation, when you didn't have support. And then we would know that again if you had to discipline yourself, and there's such a like, I will not be around certain energies anymore. And yes, I had to fight my way to become who I am today. I had to, again, go against everyone else that was telling me that I should be putting my time and energy into family or this or that or the other thing, and take it away from me. So yeah, I had to go against, I had to fight for my voice to be able to create my life. And I've always had to like deal with my tragedies and my hardships and everything by myself. So you not being here was, yes, it triggered my abandonment issues. This is you, Scorpio. But um, I know how to get through it. I can get through it. The point is, you shouldn't have made me get through it. So there's a difference. Do I penalize you for that? No, because that's the only thing that I'm asking you to do, is to show up. And you couldn't do it. You hid behind everything. You avoided. And because you just didn't want to give it, you gave nothing. So yeah, I was by myself again to deal with it. But I know how to do that, because I've had to do that. One more. Misunderstood. And I kind of feel like people see your sensitive side, they see your nice side. So they assume that you're going to be like the martyr, the giver, the healer, the doer, someone that's full of love that gives. And so you showed this person another side of you. And the thing is, I feel like you're misunderstood a lot, because people take your kindness for weakness. So it's almost like you had to step into this energy where you chose yourself. You chose yourself and you said, you know, this person that like they have feelings, but it's just not enough. You shouldn't have to constantly look over your shoulder to see whether you have to lower your vibration in order for the connection to work. They like that energy. They like the drama. They like the sex. They like the passion. They like the drama. But then in that, you're not creating life. You're not creating real experiences. And where you're going, Scorpio, it's all about you're going to be a leader. You're pouring into your job, your hobby, and the things that you're doing for yourself that grow you. So of course this person doesn't like it. It's like, because of course you're going to find somebody better. The universe, God, whatever you want to call it, brings us the people and situations and experiences that change us, that grow us, that allow us to see that we can actually have everything that we want. And so that's what we see here. We see the fact that there was love, but it's like, I'm not going to lower my energy, and you're not going to manipulate me into tricking me into doing it. It's like I've had to give my energy up once, and maybe that was in childhood, but I'm not going to do it again. And we leave off with one more card, and that's a message from the universe. And they're all flying out today. So let's see. Let's see what it is. Return to the heart. I breathe light and stick to the essentials for my soul. The present moment, I calm my thoughts, I focus on my heart and find space to be where my light and greatness are. I find peace and inner silence. So I feel like your returning to the heart was not about loving this person. It was about loving yourself. And like I said, if you grew up in an environment where you were misunderstood and you weren't allowed to have a voice and you were seen as rebellious just because you didn't march to the tune of everybody else's drum, you would be used to having to mold to somebody else's energy. And when you do that, you're not disciplining yourself enough to create yourself. So you had to get to a place of saying, well, what no longer serves me doesn't support me, whatever you're intolerant to. And this person, there was more things that you were not tolerable to than there were that you actually could deal with. They didn't want to they don't have the want, the desire to raise their vibration enough to actually give you what you deserve. And the irony is, if they would do it, they would actually be giving themselves the love and the support that they're actually deserving of. They're robbing themselves by staying on the surface. And there's a part of this person that knows that. That's why, again, the story opened up with a cognitive dissonance, that they want the relationship. They don't want to do what it takes to rise up to get the relationship. You would want the relationship too if this person wasn't an asshole, but you're more than willing to let it go because it's like, well, if you can't rise to my level to make me feel emotionally supported, well, I'm intolerant to it. It's like I'm just going to pour my energy into myself and leave you behind. And that's what this person knows. So that's why they're getting impatient and they're realizing you're not coming back. But did I see them coming back? No, I see a lot of worry and a lot of bouncing back and forth between I should have, I could have, I would have. I self-righteous, now I feel insecure. So they bob back and forth between that energy, and it's all avoidant style because they really don't want to do what it takes. Doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. It's just they don't love themselves enough. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. They don't love themselves enough to rise, because if they would do that, that would open up their heart. They would get a lot more benefits from living their true self instead of whatever this is. I'm going to leave that there, Scorpio. You let me know how you resonated with this one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.